This is the High School Crossfire. Welcome back.
Maximum degrees of honor to the table of jury, the two competing sides, and the house at large. My name is Ibrahim Salmin, standing firmly by the affirmer's side. As the resolution goes, this house will prioritize petroleum industry to the expense of the agricultural industry. Resolved. We are the leaders of the future, and the future is today. We as the farmers, we have already predicted the future, that agriculture is a failure. Since independence, we have not yet been able to raise the economic sector of Uganda through agriculture. We need to diversify it. The precurrent speaker came and spoke about us not prioritizing, not saying the purpose of petroleum industry. Why we prioritize in the petroleum industry, it's because that the agriculture has failed in raising the economy of Uganda. They have low inputs, they lack credits, poor access to extensions, and low technological adaptations. With the approximate 6.5 billion barrels of oil reserves, as my first speaker said, we are going to be able to raise the economy of Uganda through exporting 51%, which is going to raise the gross domestic product of Uganda by at least 24%. This is according to the Uganda Bureau of Statistics. He also came and said that people of Karamoja are living in acute area. This is why we want to industrialize Uganda through petroleum industry, finances that are going to be got from it. He came and said that, accepted.
Do you believe that the reasons as to why agriculture is not giving us the expected returns can be mitigated?
Yes, it can be mitigated. This is because we lack funds. When we export our petroleum, as the 57% is going to be exported, we are going to earn funds, unlike getting debts, but funds earned from Uganda, which are going to be able to fund us in getting more agricultural output. But instead, we need to prioritize on the petroleum industry first. He came and said that he borrowed information from the Netherlands. Netherlands is a very diversified country at first. They started practicing their agriculture as early as the 17th century, for those who studied the history of South Africa. For me, he said that they also use methods of land reclamation using mechanics. What do machines use? Don't they use fuel? That's the fuel we want to prioritize in Uganda. We have 81% of our land is engaged in subsistence farming. Subsistence farming does not earn Uganda anything because this is personal only for the producer. Out of the 80% land used available for agriculture in Uganda, only 35% is being put in use, which means that the agricultural sector has failed to do what it has to do in order to save Uganda out of this economic crisis. We who affirm to the resolution say that with the coming of the petroleum industry, we are going to be able to raise finances that are going to raise the agriculture sector of Uganda. But first, allow me to, according to the New Vision copy of Friday, 20th June, 2023, China donated agricultural products worth 2.6 billion US dollars to Butaleja. These products include tractors and all machines that use fuel. We cannot use all these machines without the presence of fuel. And if we are to use fuel that is imported, it means that we are going to incur more expenses than what we are going to export ourselves. Currently, in Uganda, we import more than what we export. This is because we are only monotonous. We are only focused on agriculture. Agriculture yet has failed to do what we want. But if we diversify our economy, I wish to end by saying, let's all come together to save Uganda. Thank you.
Good afternoon to you, everyone. This house will prioritize the petroleum industry at the expense of the agriculture industry. So we have a team proposition that does not give us reasons as to why we should prioritize petroleum over agriculture. However, they come and give us importances of petroleum. These are things that we actually acknowledge. However, I want them to understand that by prioritizing agriculture over petroleum, we do not say that we are not going to do anything about the petroleum industry. What we are saying is, let us prioritize agriculture because, like we told you in status quo, the biggest problem that people are having in Uganda is food insecurity. And these are challenges that we seek to address. Unlike the side of the house where they tell us, let us have petroleum at the expense of lives of people. This means that we are going to continue importing food at the expense of people's lives, because they come and tell us, okay, let us go and drill. One thing we need to understand is in Uganda currently today, we do not trust our own engineers with road construction, and they want us to come and actually entrust these very same people with something as essential as the petroleum industry. What does this bring? We see that we shall then have things like leakages and things like incompetence in this sector. What will then happen is we shall not even develop in their sort of world. What do we come and tell them? We come and tell them that what is necessary at this point in time is, one, food security that we are calling for. And also, we are not saying that we are going against the petroleum sector. What we are saying is they come and raise concerns of how modern agriculture calls for things like petrol. However, we want them to understand that things like biogas, which is going to be coming from this very same agriculture. And also there are things like solar energy and hydroelectricity power. So they should not tell us that for agriculture to develop, we need to have things like petroleum. However, even in any event when we have, in our side of the house, we came and told them about how we are going to mitigate problems that come with the petroleum. Unlike the side of the house, they tell us, let us prioritize. This means that we are going to increase masses. One thing we need to understand is that the countries that are taking part in petroleum exploration are big countries like Nigeria and UAE. This means that Uganda, that cannot produce good quality coffee, cannot effectively compete with these people in exporting petrol, because we've seen many of Uganda's products get bounced. So when you tell us that $1 million project like petroleum is going to work in a country where coffee of 3,600 has failed, we do not think that is something that is practical. What do we come and tell them? We tell them that why Uganda's agriculture industry is not working is because they have not been given the priority. This is why we come and tell them, this is why we come and tell them that we should instead prioritize the agriculture industry. Why? Because one, we are going to be helping people, but also we could, like we told them, we are going to do things like subsidizing machinery. This literally means that people shall then have, yes, you had a POI.
Thank you for granting this opportunity to me. You are talking about importation of food from other states. What do we use to import that food? Isn't it the petroleum that you are putting aside so as to prioritize agriculture?
When we come and tell them about how petroleum is essential, we do not necessarily say that we are going to do away with petroleum. What we are saying is food should be the priority. We do not have to import things like food into a country where we have 50% of East Africa's arable land. This means that we are simply being not practical. These are things that we can do within our country. We have favorable climate. I mean, we are in the equatorial regions of East Africa. This literally means that we can provide food for ourselves as well as carry out petroleum exploration. Unlike the side of the house where they tell us, let us leave people to die simply because they think development is the most essential thing at this point. We come and tell them that yes, we could have petroleum being explored at Lake Albert. However, we do not think that it should be at the expense of people's lives. Secondly, we come and tell them about pollution that they do not combat in their side of the house. Tell them that petroleum comes with so many side effects. Things like emission of carbon gases into the atmosphere. This is bad because one, it does not only suffocate the agriculture industry, but also the fisheries and everything that, if including our own lives. So I think that these are things that should not be put at risk. This is why we call for agriculture, because one, agriculture as in itself is able to combat the side effects that come with carbon emissions, because one, since the trees are the leading users of carbon, that means that agriculture can equally combat the problems that they call for. Thank you.
This is the High School Crossfire. We'll be back in a minute.